When it comes to tennis injuries, prevention is as vital as the cure. Justin Gimelstob finds out how the players stay one step ahead.
Well, hello, I'm Justin Gimelstob, and today on Form and Fitness, we're very fortunate to have the Director of Sports Medicine for the ATP World Tour, Todd Ellenbecker, with us. Todd, thanks for joining us today. Todd is going to talk about how testing has been a huge part of preventing injuries on the ATP World Tour.
That's right, Justin. Historically, we've been pretty good at treating injuries and seeing injuries on the ATP World Tour. Now we're actually trying to prevent them to a greater extent. And 3 or 4 times a year, we offer a program for the players to actually go through a series of tests, and where we find weaknesses, then give them specific exercises to address those weaknesses or imbalances. And so what I'd like to share with you today is just 2 different areas or 2 tests that we do, and 2 exercises that would work on the weak areas if we found them. So first area I'd like to look at is the shoulder, and we know that there's some shoulder injuries in tennis, usually the rotator cuff and whatnot. So how we test that is with a little device. I don't have it with me today, but a device that goes back here, a force sensor that actually measures the strength of your rotator cuff. So I would push with this device and we'd see exactly how strong you are with your external rotators or rotator cuff muscles. Very frequently from overuse and overtraining, players will actually have weakness in that muscle group. If we find that, we give them an exercise. We tell them to use elastic bands and weights and some very light weights and things like that. But a fun thing to do is to actually use medicine balls, which is very dynamic and can work on both deceleration and acceleration. If you get down on one knee and your shoulder's going to stay out at 90 degrees, basically the position that you serve in. So you're kind of in this serving position. This is a 1 kilogram ball. You'd start maybe with even the weight of a softball, something light, or a grapefruit, quite frankly. You can pick off a tree or get it at a local market and stuff. But you start with just a lightweight, and I'm just going to throw the ball underhand. You're going to catch it, decelerate it, and then throw it back to me. Excellent. And it's the deceleration part, as you mentioned a second ago, that is key for this particular exercise. And we do a multiple set of repetitions, usually about 15 or 20 of these, and maybe 2 sets, to really fatigue the muscles and work a lot on muscle endurance.
Okay.
Excellent. Very good. So getting away from the shoulder, Justin, another thing that we look at is trying to prevent lower back and hip injuries. And we want to see how your core stability is. And one of the tests that we use...
I can tell you already, my core stability is poor, my lower body strength is poor, so I'm going to let you prove that, and then I'm going to let you show an exercise that can help with that.
Well, let's see how you do, because you might do better than you think, but maybe we'll find something. But a test that we do is the one-leg stability test. You stand on one leg, you cross your arms over your chest, and what you want to do is a little mini squat. So you're going to stand on the left leg here, and you're going to go down in a mini squat and back up. And what we watch for is if your hip drops, or in your case, if your knee goes inward like that, it tells us that a muscle rather, on the outside of your hip called the gluteus medius is a little bit weak. What do? Well, we're gonna actually use an exercise that's very easy to do with a loop of elastic band. Very easy to find this stuff. We're gonna put one leg in at a time here, and we're going to keep a little bit of constant tension in the band, and then to make it tennis specific, we're actually going to put you in your ready position. And if we had a racket today, we'd put a racket in your hand, make it so tennis specific, and then you're just going to do a lateral step, which works the outside of your hip, the gluteus medius muscle. And you just keep going left and right. You want to go in both directions towards both sides of the body. Perfect. And excellent form, staying nice and low, keeping constant tension in the band. That's very, very good. And we would go back and forth several times to the point of fatigue and then repeat that.
Luckily for me, we don't have to go too many times to get to fatigue. It gets there pretty quickly. Todd, appreciate it. Here on the ATP World Tour, we don't only try and treat injuries, we try and prevent them, and testing is a huge part of that process.
Next week on ATP World Tour Uncovered, presented by Rio, we take a tour of Toronto as the Rogers Cup kicks off. And on the road with Raonic, we spend a day in the life of Canada's very talented young gun. Don't forget to log on to atpworldtour.com for your 24/7 breaking news and talk with us on Facebook and Twitter. See you next week.